what's up? It's your Ready from 80s Rise. We're back here at Loki Kia in Palm Harbor, Florida, and guess what? We have that turbocharged new sedan from Kia that brings a power pack punch. It's this car right here. This is a 2025 Kia K4. This is the GT line, but this is the one that you really wanted to see. This is the GT line Turbo. But before we hop into this compact sedan, let's talk about what's going on here. So, automotive industry is changing. Obviously, sedans have been taking a backseat to SUVs and crossover SUVs for many years already, but Kia is still sticking with a sedan, a compact sedan. Now, this car competes with a lot of different vehicles that still are being produced. Mazda with the Mazda 3, Honda with the Civic Si, and of course, its sister brand, the Elantra, with the N-Line. And then you go over to Toyota, can't forget the long-standing Toyota Camry. Now, when it comes to getting actual performance, those are far and few between. So what I want to find out is, does the Kia K4 GT line Turbo bring the performance for the best price? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our K4 GT line Turbo and find out. Right off the bat, the color. Loving the gunmetal metallic gray, almost looks black, really has a nice sparkle to it, and matches well with what you're going to see on the interior. Now, up front, this vehicle's all new, so you're going to have LED headlights, LED daytime running lamps, and your LED turn signals. Working our way down, I'm not a big fan of what they did here. Why not put a fog lamp, something going on, make it functional rather than giving it almost like a buck tooth look, because you have this fake vent area on both sides of the lower grille. Not really my favorite, so I am going to have to zonk it, but you do have a little bit of gloss black to differentiate it from the gunmetal metallic gray. And I'm on the fence. You know, I used to love, really love what Kia was doing with some of their designs when you go back to 2018 with the Stinger GT and the original Telluride. I feel like now it's just getting a little too overdone. But let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Now, as we come across the front grille, you got that signature tiger nose grille pinched in the center, a little bit of silver trim on the GT line Turbo across the top, functionality up top and down below. You do have a large intercooler because this is a turbocharged intercooled engine. And I like the way that they went with this satin silver on the lower lip. But you could see, like I was saying, those two buck teeth with the fake vent thing, just not, I guess it looks aggressive. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section, because I'm just confused. Now, as we rise up, very clean body line between the top of the grille and the hood. It's got a nice curve to it with that Kia badge. As we come around the curve, of course, you're going to get unique wheels and tires. So what do we got going on with this K4 GT line Turbo? These are 18-inch wheels. Very complicated wheel, but I do like the way that it is gloss black. And if you're wondering, well, what's the tires? 235 on the width, 40 series sidewall, and this car is front wheel drive with the turbo. Now, another thing I'm really confused is, why are we putting gloss black around the fender openings? This isn't an SUV. It's not a raised sedan. So why are we doing that? Let me know if you like that in the comment section. I'm gonna zonk it, because this should be all body colored, this beautiful gunmetal metallic gray. Now, as we come down the side, GT line Turbo gets gloss black on the mirror caps, that aluminum style silver trim that is the support for your side mirrors, and LED turn signals. From the side of the vehicle, you can see the overall dimensions. These compact sedans keep getting bigger and bigger. This is bigger physically than a Mazda 3 for sure, and even a Toyota Camry. Up top, you're gonna get an oversized sunroof. I wish they would have painted the whole roof black. They painted the front black, but not the rear. So that to me is a bit of a zonk. You have a little bit of aluminum style trim along the bottom of the window openings. And it's interesting where they hide the door handle for the rear passenger door. I guess in their mind, it gives you a cleaner platform to have that body line come out into the rear quarter panel. But this is where they really lose me. What do we got going on here? It just comes to an abrupt end, and the way that they flare out the silver trim, I don't know, it just doesn't have a sexy flow to it. I don't I don't get what they're doing. Like I said, Stinger GT, think about that sportback design. It looked amazing. This, not so much. Now, as we come around the back, you'll notice, like I was telling you, that body line is pretty aggressive. That comes off the rear passenger doors into the rear fenders. This isn't a sportback. So what that means is that this large area right here is part of the trunk. It all opens up as one. Not a big fan of the gloss black. I don't know why they had to put so much gloss black on that trunk lid. Very, very modern take on the taillights. They do illuminate about halfway in. And then as we work our way down to the ground level, you do get a GT line badge, but you don't have any exposed exhaust. You just got a double tip exhaust that's just dangling down there. It would have been nice to have some type of exhaust finisher like you find on the Kia K5 GT. And then a very, very interesting take on the lower diffuser, which is also in gloss black. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk about the power of this K4 GT line. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. Underneath the hood, it confuses me because you could get a GT line non-turbo or you could get a GT line turbo. I wish that they would have made the turbo version the GT. That to me just makes more sense, but what do I know? But what we have finally for you underneath the hood is that turbocharged engine. So you're looking at a 1.6 liter turbocharged inline four. It's 190 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds. Top speed, 130 miles per hour. MPG is not too shabby, 26 in the city, 36 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs 3,285 pounds. So I'm a little surprised that it didn't have just a tad more horsepower, because remember, Civic Si has 200 horsepower. If you go with a turbocharged Mazda 3, you're gonna have 250 horsepower. And really the one that can't really compete is gonna be the Toyota Corolla, because you can't get a turbocharged Corolla engine unless you get a GR Corolla, which is a totally different ball of wax. But why don't we go ahead, we got the turbo, let's fire it up and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this two-tone interior setup of this 2025 Kia K4 GT Line Turbo. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been looking at one of these vehicles. I've seen the commercials that Kia's had on TV. My question is, how much is it? So MSRP, the way that this one is optioned, is right at $29,000. Undercuts the Civic Si, does come with a lot more tech than the Civic Si. Obviously, the Elantra N-Line is going to be very, very similar. And if you want a Mazda 3 Turbo, you're going to have to pay more. And like I said, Corolla, there isn't a turbocharged option. Unless you get GR Corolla, which is totally different. But let's see what the K4 GT Line Turbo brings for the money to the door panels. I do like the two-tone style. Really clean. You do have 3 stages of heated seats. No ventilated seats, and you can see the switchgear up top by that bright silver door handle to open up the door. No gloss black, just a little bit of that painted metallic gray trim underneath the soft armrest. Door pocket is a decent size. You could probably get, I would say, a Whopper, large fry, and a Coke to wash it down. We do have the Harman Kardon sound system. Now, when we go from the door panel to the dash, you do have soft touch material. I love the way they did this trim. No gloss black. And there's more of that painted gray finish. Another nice touch. Slide on in, you have a continuous, uninterrupted screen setup. 12.3-inch infotainment system. Then you're gonna have this small 7-inch display here for your AC controls, and then you have your 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. The good news is that there are physical switches and knobs for the AC. You have all the familiar icons and apps. When it comes to Kias, throw it into reverse, backup camera, nice and large, and it's actually pretty good resolution, especially compared to a Honda. My God, theirs are terrible. And then we're right back where we started. Here's our real switch gear for the AC, dual climate control, which is nice. Down below, you got 2 USB-Cs, a 12-volt wireless charging. This is going to control your 8-speed automatic, and you have your stop-start button located right down on the center console. Put it back into park. 2 large cup holders, and I like the way that if you need a smaller cup holder, you just push the button and it makes a smaller cup holder. There's our Kia key fob. Semi-soft on the armrest, but I like the dark cherry red. Open it up, you could put, I would say, about 24 of your favorite balls in there. So you could put your golf balls, maybe you had them signed by Arnold Palmer and Tiger Woods. You could keep your balls in there, and then maybe one day you could pass them on to your great grandchild, and they could sell them on eBay for about $10. Seats, soft touch material. Very interesting how they have a totally separate headrest from the rest of the trim. You got your GT line embossed in the back of the seat with the red. The zonk is that you have manual controls for the passenger side. That's terrible for 30 grand. I have full electric assist, and I know you're saying, well, Joe, the Civic Si is a little bit more, but you don't get any power seats. You are correct in that, but the Civic Si does have a limited slip diff and that manual transmission. Up top, we have a little bit larger than a standard size sunroof with a power shade. Why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind this two-tone wheel in this K4. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. One of the impressive things is you're going to get a hell of a pedal box, a nice aluminum dead pedal, brake pedal, and throttle. Here's your power seat controls. Like I said, just for the driver's seat. Seat's actually very comfy and very supportive, and it feels sporty in here. Plenty of room. 6 feet tall, plenty of room. I can actually lower the seat a little bit more, which is even nicer. Steering wheel, unique. That's probably the best word for it. You have a little bit of two-tone. Your drive mode selector button right in the center there. Flat black on all the switchgear. You do have paddles to go up and down your 8-speed automatic. There is no manual available. And this is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you have your digital gauge cluster. It's clean. It's just a little boring, you know. It's like one of those things like, hey, I got a screen, but there's really nothing to it. And then when it comes to drive modes, you have 2, sport and normal. That's not really that much fun. It would be nice to have a little bit more. And you don't have the corner cameras, the blind spot cameras, which is a bit of a bummer for 30 grand. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat area and see if your passengers are gonna be happy you went with a K4. All right, guys, back seat time. You do get the same great two-tone. What's really freaking weird is that you don't have a pocket on the back of the driver's seat. So that's a zonk, but you do have this little edge here where you could hang your, your cardigan, your senior class jacket, something like that, maybe a hoodie. AC vents, which is a nice touch, 2 USB-Cs, and you get enough room right here. I would say you could put 4 York peppermint patties. The other zonk is the pocket that they do give you is this cargo net thing, and if you put your sushi knife set in there, you're gonna rip right through it. So I don't advise on that. I'm 6 feet tall, not too bad. I do like the red on the interior, semi-soft on the armrest with the 2 cup holders. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into that trunk, because I want to take you for a spin in this turbo K4. All right, guys, trunk time. Hit the button, hit it in the trim there. It's going to give you about 15 cubic feet of space, which is actually quite generous on a compact sedan. The seats will do the 60-40 split, and underneath you do have a spare, which is really nice. But it's not just about what you could stuff into this thing, it's also about what type of on-throttle experience are you gonna have. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go for a drive in this K4. All right, guys, we're behind the wheel of this 2025 Kia K4 GT Line Turbo. And right away, I think you're really gonna like how the interior is laid out. I mean, you have those 2 large 12.3-inch screens. I'm really digging the two-tone in this thing. Really makes it stand out in a very, very nice way. And having that extra turbocharged power and an actual 8-speed automatic really does change the driving experience of this vehicle. And when you're looking at something like a Civic Si or an Elantra N-Line, this is really gonna fall nicely into place, especially for the price point. Very, very well laid out. You have an actual shifter. I know a lot of people do not like push button transmissions. You don't have to worry about that with this vehicle. No push button transmissions. And the steering is actually very, very nice and direct. Now let's go ahead and go on throttle and see how this turbocharged power helps. Are you ready? On throttle, here we go. Braking traction a little bit as we go into second gear. I do, of course, have it in sport mode. And like I said, what's nice is that you have an actual 8-speed automatic, no CVT. And then if you want to shift manually with the paddles, you can with that small gear indicator. You got a decent sound coming from the engine. Nothing's being piped in and all simulated and fake and whatnot. And the seats are very, very supportive and comfortable. Plus they look good being the two-tone. I think one of my biggest things that I like is how they still give you physical switches for the AC. You have the dual climate control. You could use the switches or you could touch the screen. And it's left of the actual infotainment system. So it really gives you an uninterrupted setup from behind the wheel. Very good visibility out the front. Very, very good visibility out the back. And definitely has the pep with that turbocharged power. Let's go ahead and make another U-turn here. Very, very easy to make U-turns in these cars. Super nice. Look at that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. On throttle. Here we go. A little bit of lag there. Did you notice that? Well, I think a lot of it has to do with that I have it in manual shift. So let me drop it down here. Second gear. On throttle. Here we go. Much better. And the transmission actually shifts pretty quickly whether you're going up the gears or down the gears, which is nice. But let me put it back into automatic shifting, and we're going to see how this car behaves. Like I said, the handling is really, really good. And the way they tune the suspension is nice as well. It's not bouncy, but it's not really soft and mushy as well. So you could really kind of tell the direction of this sportier, compact style car. Now, is it going to out-handle and perform a Civic Si? Heck no. But remember, the Civic Si is only available with the manual transmission, whereas this is only available with the automatic transmission, unless you get a non-turbo and then you're just getting a CVT. But having that 190 horsepower definitely makes a big difference in how this whole car just drives and how it makes you feel when you're behind the wheel. You feel a lot better with that extra power. But the amount of space that they have in the car is quite impressive. And there isn't a lot of turbo lag, which is good. I mean, we don't want that. We don't want the turbo lag. Just make sure if you go on throttle, you put it into automatic shift mode, or if you have it in manual shift mode like I did, make sure you just remember to hit the paddles. It's one of those days. It's a Monday. I got a case of the Mondays here. But quiet in the cabin. Very, very composed. Let's do it from a dead stop again. You ready? We're going to use the paddles this time. You ready? On throttle. Here we go. So you're actually braking traction, which is surprising. I mean, you would think they would kind of tune that a little bit better so that you're not braking traction, but I guess it impresses your friends when they're like, wow, that Kia K4 GT line turbo, it spins the tires. Whoa. But like I said, overall drivability of this car is great. And then making a U-turn, I mean, look at this. even in this tight situation, boom, look at that. Really, really nice. And then the one thing that I think is missing are the ventilated seats, but you tell me if that's a big zonk to you for what the price of this vehicle is. But you can see how well it drives down the road. It's amazing, even on a compact car, how they've, you know, increased the rigidity of the chassis, added extra sound deadening material, and it really allows you to have a nice driving experience without a bunch of wind noise and road noise and creaks and rattles and stuff. But just, I'm impressed with how it drives. I'll definitely tell you that. Not really loving the look so much, but remember, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'd rather personally spend a little bit more and get the Civic Si, but the Civic Si doesn't have as many amenities as this vehicle has, especially when it comes to the two-tone interior, the screens. But it is the better driving car. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, come on. It's got a limited slip diff. It's got better brakes, better suspension. And me, I live for manual transmissions, so I'm down with that. But still, I could see why people would gravitate towards this car, especially with what you're getting. The Kia that I really miss is the Stinger GT. That one was my favorite. It really, really was. But I hope that this has been a good, quick overall review, Monday morning review of this K4 GT line turbo. Like I said, it's Monday. It happens. We're gonna get back to Loki Kia and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. Hi guys, another great day here at Loki Kia. Definitely got to thank Robert, Danny, and the rest of the crew getting us access to this GT line turbo. Let me know what you think. Did they bring enough of that sportiness to this GT line turbo for the money compared to the competition? Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Razor Eyes family. Gotta give it up to Stephen Flood Photography. Thank you, Stephen, for capturing all the angles. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.